Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the inaugural edition of the Roast of Wrestling. This is 2022. My name is Bill Black, and I will be guiding us through the shitstorm that was this year by providing you a crispy barbecue roast of all the wrestlers that earned the right in 2022. Without further ado, let's begin. Kicking us off this year, of course, was none other than Shane McMahon, who in what was arguably the worst men's Royal Rumble in years, was so shitty and self-centered backstage trying to book the entire Rumble around him that it actually made the entire Jackass crew look at him and go, geez, that's awful. I mean, we've peed on each other and stapled each other's nuts, but we would never treat another human being like that. Now, say what you will about Johnny Knoxville, but he actually had a great match at WrestleMania. What is it with these celebrities coming into the WWE and having these absolute banger matches? I mean, Johnny Knoxville, Bad Bunny, Logan Paul. You know, I miss the days of horrendous segments from celebrities like Al Sharpton, Jeremy Piven, Kevin Federline. Now, if I was a betting man, I wouldn't bet on the fact that people would want these celebrities to return. However, if we're talking about 2022, we did have our fair share of cool returns, such as Cody Rhodes, Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair. But one return that people were very excited about, not only, of course, Stone Cold Steve Austin, but the return of the mysterious Bray Wyatt, who, after weeks of interesting teases and creepy vignettes and cryptic messaging, he finally returned and gave us more cryptic messaging and interesting teases about finally returning to give more cryptic messaging and interesting teases. Jesus Christ. Bray Wyatt gives more blue balls than a Sonic the Hedgehog marathon. Now this year, Ric Flair had his supposed last match, and I'll be honest, I watched it. It was uncomfortable. I think I must have felt a little bit like what that plane attendant from the Plane Ride from Hell story, Heidi Doyle, how she felt. Because the whole time I was watching the match, I was like, please, Rick, just stop. I don't want to see that, Rick. Mr. Flair, please just put that thing away. And by thing, I mean your career. In news I had literally not heard of at all before doing research for this video, this year, Cain Velasquez, remember him, has actually been arrested for attempted murder on this man who allegedly would have molested a younger relative of his. Now, Cain Velasquez has been granted bail, so he walks free, but in my mind, Cain Velasquez actually should have been arrested years earlier for attempted murder of my faith in the pro wrestling industry. I mean, that match with Brock, honestly, anyone who actually got through that match and the DX Brothers of Destruction match from the previous year at Crown Jewel, anybody who did that should get a medal for persevering through and remaining a fan of the pro wrestling industry despite those things. Now, of course, we can't mention the words persevering through and pro wrestling industry without mentioning, of course, the one and only Vince McMahon, who this year, believe it or not, actually became the oldest person to ever compete and win at WrestleMania. I mean, that is just an unbelievably inspirational story and literally the only thing I will say about Vince McMahon in 2022. Of course, not everyone is so lucky as Vince McMahon in terms of having an incredible 2022. Some people have had rises and falls. Of course, a great example is none other than CM Punk, who unfortunately had a situation like that this year. I mean, I remember when CM Punk CM Punk. It was the most chanted name in the industry. It was this sort of battle cry against everything that was the establishment. It was this sort of reinvigorating chant to represent the underrated and undervalued. And now it's like CM Punk. CM Punk. How do you fuck up your return so bad that you make Triple H look likable? I mean, Triple H was the old guard. He was nepotism. He was the classic bodybuilder type, and CM Punk was the sort of fiery upstart, underrated, undervalued guy. He was the indie star. It kind of makes you question everything, like, oh shit, maybe Punk was the dick after all. But speaking of questioning everything, here's a question. When is Veer Mahaan coming? Is he already here? Why is he gone already? And to round out the inaugural roast of wrestling is, of course, a glorious celebrity shitting the bed story from our favorite pro wrestler turned politician, none other than Mr. Glenn Jacobs, mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee, also known as Kane. Now, here's a question. Who would have ever thought that the most monstrous version of Kane wouldn't be masked Kane, burnt Kane, imposter Kane, or even corporate Kane, but in fact would be political Kane? It is so strange to live in a world where it's more embarrassing to show clips of a 50-year-old man dressed in BDSM gear throwing sweaty half-naked man into a casket than show tweets from an elected official, tweets about the situation in Ukraine. It's like, please, can we just keep watching Kane set JR on fire? I don't want to hear about Mr. Jacobs' take on abortion. Please, I'd rather watch the Katie Vick segment than to hear Mr. Jacobs' take on healthcare. But you know what? This concept really isn't anything new. This has happened before, you know, when an outlandish, charismatic powerhouse of a pro wrestler turns out to have a far-right nut job playing him. There's actually a term for that. There's a term that the WWE invented. It's called, of course, a Warrior Award. Thank you very much. I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed creating this. If you liked that, please put up the old thumbs up, put up the old subscribe, comment, get the engagement going. I want to see if there's any interest for this. Of course, these are all jokes. I hope no one got deeply offended. I hope everyone has a wonderful 2023, and I hope to see you very soon.